one of the pillars of excellence traditionally in the world of entertainment, especially over the past couple of decades, has been Disney animation and Pixar films, right? Pixar, of course, is under the Disney umbrella as well. They are a separate studio. Technically, they function separately, but, they're kind of in the same family. But the last, couple of years, they've put out a couple of films that have struggled. One being Lightyear, which again was a movie that just confused a lot of audiences. Like a lot of audiences just didn't understand what the point of that was. Like, wait a minute, is this a Toy Story movie? Is it not a Toy Story movie? This whole thing about, like, I literally had to watch the movie and see that opening screen of it that says, in whatever year a little kid went to go see a movie, a little kid named Andy went to go see a movie and it became his favorite movie. This is that movie. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I have a feeling they should have probably done that in some of their marketing, but for whatever reason, a lot of people were just confused. They had no idea. Tim Allen put it quite well about that. It's like just nobody knew what this was. Was it a Toy Story movie? Was it not a Toy Story movie? They weren't really clear on it. At any rate, the movie struggled big time, despite the fact that it had an amazing first act. Like the first act of Lightyear, I thought was mind-blowingly good. Unfortunately, after the first act, it kind of went downhill after that. So it was what it was. Also, Encanto, which a lot of people really liked Encanto, but it didn't make a lot of money. Like, it didn't even crack the $300 million mark. It's like 240 or 260, something around that level. So they've struggled a little bit. So when we were at CinemaCon back in April, and they previewed for us this new Disney film, Strange World, I was like, okay, next new Disney. All right, what's this one about? And they showed us a preview for it. And I remember thinking, they just showed us like a 6-minute preview, and I don't know what this movie's about. Like, I don't know what this movie's about at all. And it doesn't actually look very good to me. And if you guys have been watching the show, I've been saying, it's like, I don't know about this Strange World movie. Looks odd. Well, Strange World is now in theaters, and it's already not doing well. It's not doing well at all. It opened with its opening preview night making $800,000. Now, without context, we don't know whether $800,000 is great or not great or any of that kind of stuff. But let me tell you, it's not great. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who wrote the following. Disney's Strange World, an animated feature about a family of legendary explorers, is having trouble discovering a great deal of treasure. The well-reviewed film, it's all right reviewed. I wouldn't call it a super good reviewed film, but it's getting okay reviews. The well-reviewed film grossed a disappointing $800,000 in Tuesday's previews, which likely means that initial estimate that Strange World would pull in between $30 million and $40 million over the 5-day Thanksgiving holiday may prove to be overly optimistic. So here's the thing. A $30 to $40 million opening weekend would be considered pretty solid. But when they talk about an opening $30 to $40 million weekend, they're not talking about the official weekend. They're talking about the 5-day Thanksgiving. They were hoping that Strange World could pull in $30 to $40 million, not its opening weekend, but in the 5-day Thanksgiving Day holiday. And it looks like they're not going to come anywhere close to that. Anywhere close to that. Let's jump over for a second to the Campea classroom here, shall we? All right. So let's give this to Encanto by comparison, okay? Encanto, on its Thanksgiving Day weekend, Encanto made $40 million. Now, that's the Thanksgiving Day weekend. It made, I think, $27 million on the weekend proper. Okay? So like $40 million is what Encanto made over its full Thanksgiving holiday weekend, the full 5-day weekend. In the literal opening weekend, it made $27 million. Okay? And again, Encanto only went on to make around 260 something, in that neighborhood, 260 something million dollars in there somewhere. Okay. Now here's where the comparison puts in. Encanto, on its opening preview night, made $1.5 million. All right? $1.5 million. Strange World made $800,000. This is the big number here. This is the key part here. All right. So to put it into perspective, Disney was projecting that Strange World could make up to $40 million in the 5-day Thanksgiving weekend, right? However, that's how much Encanto made on its 5-day weekend, and it opened on its preview night with $1.5 million. Whereas Strange World made almost half that. Half of that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the overall 5-day Thanksgiving weekend, that Strange World is going to make half of what Encanto did with and make $20 million. It'll probably make a little bit more than that. But what it does tell us is that $40 million they were hoping to make, they ain't going to make it. They ain't going to make $40 million in the 5-day Thanksgiving Day weekend. They'll probably pull in something like, maybe, I'm going to guess like maybe 25 million over the 5-day weekend and maybe like 17 million on the opening weekend proper. Now, where this becomes particularly disastrous for them is that reportedly, according to Variety, Strange World cost $180 million. Now, there's different reports out there. Some say that Strange World cost anywhere from 135 to 180, and that may be true. Maybe it's lower on that end. So I'm just going by what Variety is reporting right now, and Variety is reporting, at least right now, that Strange World cost $180 million to make. They did not advertise this movie much, so let's be generous. Let's say they only spent like $20 million on advertising. It's a $200 million movie. This movie needs to minimum, make $300 million just to break even. And if you open with like $25 million across the 5-day Thanksgiving Day weekend, guess what? We're looking at the next Disney animation flop. Unfortunately. And that's just what it is, you know? So let's talk for a second about why is Strange World having such a hard time right now, making almost half of what Encanto made, and Encanto had a disappointing box office run. So why is it? I want to propose that there are two reasons why Strange World is struggling. And they're both kind of connected to each other, and neither of these reasons will surprise any of you. Reason number one, they just frickin' didn't market this film. If you look at the traditional ways that Disney, and how much, traditionally speaking, Disney markets their films, they do it aggressively, they do it with a wide reach, and they basically saturate everything with marketing for their film, making sure that there is peak awareness for the projects coming out. If I was not at CinemaCon, I might not even know this movie was a real thing. Actually, I'm looking in the live chat right now. Stewie Linto is saying, honestly, I had no idea it was out. I mean, yeah, why would you? I'm not going to say they hid this film, but they didn't do much to get that awareness saturation that they traditionally do with their stuff. Yeah, a couple of campaigns, a couple of commercials I saw in a week or two leading up to it. I saw a trailer for it in front of Black Panther. That was big. But that was a trailer in front of one of their own movies. I mean, they just basically, it seemed like they didn't feel like this movie was worth the effort. And if you don't think your movie is worth the effort to promote, why should I think the movie is worth the effort to go and see? So my number one reason, and this is in no particular order, but reason number one that I think Strange World is struggling so much at the box office and will end up being their next flop is because they simply didn't market it much. That leads into the second reason why I think Strange World is struggling, is that while they didn't market it much, what marketing they did do, they did poorly. The trailers and commercials for Strange World were a waste of time. None of them, here's what the trailers told me. Here's what the commercials told me. The commercials told me that there are these adventurers who are on an alien planet, and that's it. That's not telling me what the movie's about. That's just telling me where the movie happens. Like, I think back to Toy Story 4, right? I went into that movie without any major spoilers, but the marketing for Toy Story 4 did let me know what this movie was about. That Andy has grown up, and now the new kid that the toys are with is kind of growing up a little bit too and moving on from certain toys to other toys. There's this new character, Forky. Woody is kind of like super hardcore about trying to get this one thing done. Like, I went into Toy Story 4 knowing what the movie was about. You told me what it was about. And it did really well. With what little marketing they have done with Strange World, and I'm finding this more and more. Like, yes, I agree. There is an unfortunate trend in marketing where sometimes in trailers they give the whole movie away. Like, guys in the live chat, help me out with this. What was that one movie? Was it The Invitation, where the young girl gets invited to go overseas with her new boyfriend, and it turns out it's a family of vampires? Was that called The Invitation? I know there's about a 15-second delay, but I'll keep my eye on the live chat. Let me know if that was called The Invitation. Noah's saying, Noah and Jai SIC are both, everybody's saying, yeah, that was it. Okay, so, like, I get it. You get a trailer like The Invitation, which gave the whole movie away. I mean, the trailers for The Invitation walked you through step by step every major plot twist and detail, and even showed you some of the end of the movie. I mean, I get it. There has been a trend where they give too much away. I agree. But swinging the pendulum all the way the other way, and like having a trailer that doesn't even tell you what the movie's about, is just as bad. Because you're not going to attract people to go see your film. If you just show them, look at the pretty images, why? You need to tell the audience, you need to sell the audience on why you need to come to the theater and come see this movie. And with this film, I just didn't get that in their marketing. I just didn't get that at all. And it's kind of unfortunate because, again, the reviews have not been great for this movie. The reviews have not been great, but they've been good. The reviews are good. From what I'm gathering, reading, last time I checked on Rotten Tomatoes, it had like a 73% or something like that, which is good. That's good. And I read a lot of the reviews, and all of them are saying like, yeah, it's not fantastic, but it's a nice little movie, right? Even as a nice little movie, it deserved better than this. But again, they didn't decide they wanted to market it, and so a lot of people didn't decide they wanted to go see it. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the struggles of Strange World at the box office? Did you see this coming? Maybe it's doing worse than you thought. Maybe it's doing better than you thought. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.